This is where it always starts. An empty street, wet pavement, the same quiet stretch of road that looks normal until you stay up long enough to notice it. At exactly 2:17 in the morning, the streetlight flickers on by itself. It always does. There's no timer, no motion sensor, nothing I can point to and explain. I've checked, more than once. I'm always awake when it happens. I don't remember when that started or when I moved into this apartment or what the first night was like. I just know I've seen this before. The light hums softly. The street stays empty. No cars, no footsteps, no sound except the rain. And then the shadow appears. It forms beneath the streetlight even though there's no one there. It stretches longer than it should. Too tall, too still, to belong to a person. I always lean closer to the window when I see it. I don't know why. Maybe I'm hoping it'll make sense this time. That's when the second shadow shows up. This one looks like me. It moves when I move. When I shift my weight, it shifts too. But when I step back from the window, it stays where it is. The rain stops, all at once, like the world is holding its breath. The street goes quiet, the light buzzes louder. Something feels wrong. This part doesn't usually happen. The second shadow tilts its head and looks up, straight at my window, like it knows exactly where I'm standing. The streetlight clicks off, and for a moment everything goes black. That's usually where it ends. But then the light flickers back on. The street is empty again. The pavement is wet, and somehow, it's 2:17 a.m. This is where it always starts.
I didn't plan on going outside. I tell myself that every night, right up until the moment I'm standing at the door with my hand on the knob. The streetlight is already on when I look out the window, even though the clock still says to 16. It shouldn't be on yet. It's never early. I open the door anyway. The air feels wrong the moment I step outside. Too still. Like the night is waiting to see what I'll do. The pavement is wet, but it hasn't rained. My footsteps sound louder than they should as I walk toward the streetlight, half expecting the shadows to form again before I reach it. They don't. There's only one shadow this time. Mine. It stretches out in front of me, thin and sharp beneath the light. I lift my hand and watch it move with me. Normal. Almost comforting. I tell myself that means I imagine the rest. Then I stop walking. My shadow doesn't. It takes one more step forward on its own, then another, pulling away from my feet like it's remembering how to move without me. I try to laugh, but the sound doesn't come out right. The street feels farther away now, like it's stretching. I turn around to run back to my apartment. The building isn't there. In its place is a dark gap where the street should continue, longer than the block has ever been. The streetlight hums louder behind me. I don't turn around, but I can feel something standing where my shadow used to be, close enough that I don't need to see it. When the light shuts off, the darkness feels familiar. Not empty. Familiar. When it flickers back on, I'm back at my window, looking down at the street. The pavement is wet. The road is empty. The clock reads to 17. I don't remember walking back inside, but I know I'll be awake tomorrow night.
The first thing I notice is that the street looks longer than it should. I've lived here long enough to know how far it runs, where it bends, where the houses stop. Tonight, the pavement stretches past the point where it's supposed to end. Fading into a darkness the streetlight doesn't quite reach. The clock says 2:14 when I check it. That's new. It never changes until it does. I tell myself that means I still have time, and maybe if I don't look out the window, nothing will happen at all. But the light turns on anyway, right on schedule, and the extra stretch of road doesn't disappear. I notice a figure standing farther down the street, just beyond where the light should stop. Not close enough to see clearly, not far enough to ignore. It isn't under the streetlight, and somehow that feels worse. At least shadows make sense there. I tap on the glass without thinking. The sound feels too loud in the quiet. The figure doesn't move. But a moment later, the streetlight flickers, and I realize the figure is closer than it was before. Not walking, just closer. I look away for a second. When I look back, it's standing directly beneath the light. This time, there are two shadows. Neither of them looks like mine. One is too wide, spreading out across the pavement like it's sinking into the street. The other is thin and broken, splitting apart at the edge as I try to step back from the window. But my reflection doesn't move. It just stares at me, a fraction of a second behind my own expression. The clock behind me clicks over to 2:17. The wider shadow lifts its head. Even though there's nothing there to lift, the thinner one stretches toward the building, reaching for something it can't quite touch. I can feel them noticing me in the same way you feel someone watching from a dark room. Then I hear a knock. Not on my door, on the glass. Slow, careful, like whoever is doing it knows I'm standing right there. I don't move, I don't breathe. The streetlight hums, the road stretches farther into the dark, and the knock comes again. When the light shuts off, the sound stops with it. When it comes back on, the street is empty. The extra road is gone. My reflection moves when I do. The clock reads 2:16. I stay away from the window after that, but I don't sleep, because I know when it turns 2:17, I'll hear the knock again.
I don't look at the clock anymore. I still know what time it is, My body does. There's a pressure that builds in the room as it gets closer, like the air is slowly being replaced with something heavier. By the time the streetlight turns on, my ears are already ringing. Tonight, the knock comes early. It's soft at first, almost polite, tapping against the glass like it's asking permission. I stay where I am, back against the far wall, watching the window from a distance. The street outside looks normal again. The road ends where it should. No extra darkness. No figures waiting under the light. That's worse. The tapping moves, not louder. Closer. It isn't coming from the window anymore. It's on the wall beside it, then the door frame, then the door itself. Traveling through the apartment like it's learning the layout. I can hear it tracing the edges of the room, memorizing corners, counting steps. I press my hand against my chest to steady my breathing. That's when I feel it. A vibration, faint but steady, coming from inside me. It matches the rhythm of the tapping outside, perfectly in sync, like they're sharing the same pulse. The streetlight flickers. Once, twice, something scrapes against the door, not trying to force it open. Just enough to remind me it's there. I catch my reflection in the dark screen of the TV, and for a second, it doesn't match what I'm doing. It's already turned toward the door. The tapping stops. The silence that follows is heavier than the noise ever was. I don't know how long it lasts. Long enough for me to think it might be over. Long enough for me to take one step forward. That's when the streetlight turns off. When it comes back on, I'm standing in front of the door with my hand raised, knuckles inches from the wood. The hallway outside is dark, too dark. Like the light doesn't want to reach it. I don't remember walking there. Behind me, the clock clicks to 2:17, and someone knocks from the inside of the door.
I don't knock back. I don't even pull my hand away. I just stand there, staring at the door, trying to remember the last time I was on the other side of it. The sound comes again, slower this time, like whoever is knocking is waiting for me to recognize it. The door doesn't have a peephole. I've checked. Still, I can feel something watching from the hallway, close enough that the wood between us feels thin. The streetlight hums outside, a low, steady sound that leaks through the walls and settles into my bones. I whisper hello without meaning to. My voice sounds wrong, stretched and distant, like it's traveling farther than it should. There's a pause on the other side of the door, just long enough for me to hope I imagined a knock. Then something whispers back. It doesn't use words, it uses my voice. I hear my own tone, my own hesitation, coming from inches away, repeating a sound I don't remember making. The handle twitches. Not turning, testing. I step back, but the floor creaks in front of the door at the same time, like someone else stepped back too. The clock clicks behind me. I don't turn around. I already know what time it says. The whisper stops. The hallway goes quiet. For a moment, everything feels normal again, almost safe. I start to think this might be as far as it goes tonight. The streetlight shuts off. When it flickers back on, I'm sitting on the floor with my back against the wall. The door is open. The hallway's empty. No footsteps, no shadows, just the smell of rain. Even though the pavement outside is dry, I don't remember opening the door. On the inside of the frame, carved into the wood where my hand would rest, is a single word: late. The clock reads 2:16. I stay on the floor until it turns 2 to 17, and I wait to hear myself knock.